Recently, video games have had serious issues with padding of their content. An increasing number of devs are theater kids and pseudo filmmakers who don't want you to miss out on their art. Neon Inferno is a game that lasts about 2 hours, so no problem there. However, like its spiritual predecessor, Steel Assault, it does find a way to pad out the experience. Steel Assault was a game that lasted about an hour, but in reality should last about 30 minutes. It was made longer by having simply unfair scenarios, where the players simply had no time to react or understand what was happening, and it became the worst case of trial and error I've ever faced. Neon Inferno, on the other hand, is fair, quite easy even, but it insists on having terrible checkpoints to pad out the experience. So it's a 2-hour game that should last about 1. It kept me from getting to the end very quickly because I was burned out. Old games had something similar with difficulty. Games lasted you 5 to 10 hours but really lasted 2 because of said difficulty. You felt gratified despite all of this because it was a fair challenge for the most part. When it wasn't, AVGN would make a video about it 15 years later. Bad games properly got roasted. Hard, yes, but you can feel progression and that you overcame the learning curve. Same thing here, but why do I have to redo the 3 mini bosses back to back, then a level segment, and then an elevator sequence before getting a checkpoint, and then another mini boss? That problem gets worse as you go on, and the fact that the game is short emphasizes the jump in artificial difficulty. In the first half it's not too bad, and then suddenly in the middle you get even less checkpoint than you used to. Another issue I had with the game is the scoring system. I kept having 2 stars only to realize that you can only get a good score by playing on hard. I get the idea of gating endings or special items behind difficulty. I sure did go for those Kingdom Hearts endings, but keeping the score? The devs really want to make you suffer, it seems. The industry has really suffered from the Souls game mentality. It reminds me of those Gen X that get off the idea of having a game be hard just to be hard. Difficulty doesn't make a game, or no one would enjoy Kirby. It's the implication of the player and the tools offered relative to the challenge. If the player has something to do, and the player has the appropriate tools to perform the tasks, then the game is fun. Now onto the good stuff. The art and sound of this game is amazing. The Neon title really fits. The game starts in the middle of this dark, gritty, drizzly winter, drenched in neon lights, that then move on into cold, dark, rainy days as the months go by. The pixel art is detailed. You'd be surprised how easy it is to fail at pixel art. Despite the level of detail though, there's still a high level of clarity. There's a lot of colors and a lot of things going on, but you rarely lose sight of what you have to do. I also have to say that the 80s style of manga and anime has to be one of my favorite visual styles. The somewhat realistic proportions while still being stylized makes for a style that ages really well. It makes for great menus and cutscenes. The soundtrack really hits hard from the very first level with rapid electric guitars and synths, giving it a mixture of 80s rock and dystopian sci-fi. That's pretty much the identity of the soundtrack. It also still manages from time to time to visit other genres, like mafioso-style instrumentals, orchestra, and more modern snare and Gatling gun-like double bass drumming, something not too far from Dead Decline or Slipknot. At other times it goes straight into fast-paced techno. It has different identities while still managing a core line throughout the entire thing. The different themes integrated into the style of the game are not just there for show. Mafia, hitman in a dystopian future sounds random, but every piece of it actually works its way into the sound. It's not just a cool visual layer. The game is definitely a sight to behold. It gets a bit annoying by trying to trip you over with artificial difficulty instead of actually having hard segments, but it's quite tolerable and nowhere near as hard or annoying as their previous efforts. It's a breath of fresh air compared to all the slop coming out right now. Yes, even the indie slop. I've been a little disappointed in 16-bit releases recently. Shinobi was good, but not Shinobi. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound started out strong, but ended up being awful. Early on was good, and Marvel Cosmic Invasion has a good demo, but seems a bit on the side of DEI. Terminator 2D Fate looks good, but got delayed. This is definitely a good game, and I did not regret the money. It's a little bit short though, and I almost forgot to talk about the upgrade system. The upgrades are temporary and they're quite expensive. You'd think that the upgrades would cost less to let you understand that, but no. There's 2 characters and it's definitely fun to play, and there's multiple difficulties, but it's a little bit light on content, so you could wait for a sale, but you don't have to wait for a really deep one.